So, my name is Günay, and today I will be sharing with you the boom in the rewarded industry, rewarded UA industry, and how Gamelight impacted it. Shortly to introduce myself, I'm Günay. I've been working in the mobile gaming and ad tech industry since more than 10 years. I worked in various companies in Berlin and Hamburg. Since last 5 years, I launched and scaled 3 startups, all three within mobile app and gaming industries, headquartered in Hamburg, Germany. And my latest company is Gamelight. I'm the co-founder at Gamelight. This is the largest rewarded UA platform. We are also based in Hamburg with our teams both in Hamburg, working here and remotely globally. The evolution of rewarded UA. To shortly explain how this whole thing happened, we look back when it started. This rewarded UA has been around since more than 10 years. It's not something new. It has been around even more if you would count instant install, so to say. So it's been around for quite a while, and since 10 years, rewarded events, rewarded playtime has been around, but it has never been a large channel for game publishers. It has been really secondary and alternative channels. If they want to diversify their portfolio, then UA managers would test out rewarded channels. This changed though since Gamelight entered the market, and I will be sharing how this happened. What is rewarded UA? So first, I see quite some confusion sometimes because some people would include, so to say, or assume Unity, Iron Source, AppLovin, and so on. Those rewarded video channels are rewarded. There are rewards happening, but they're happening pre-install, not to watch the ad, to interact with the ad. That's different. So when we say rewarded UA, we mean those channels where rewards are happening post-install. In this case, those are playtime rewards and event rewards. Playtime rewards are case when users would get rewards for playing certain minutes within the game, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and so on. So more they play, more rewards they get. And events are for passing certain milestones within the game, such as level 5, 20, 25, or various kingdoms and villages, and so on. Those would be event rewards. In case of Gamelight, we have both of this combined. We have playtime and event rewards, and it's defined dynamically by our algorithm, which analyzes user data and defines how user would react for each reward. It's based on user and game that we are promoting, and it's defined uniquely for each user. Now, what are the benefits of rewarded user acquisition? Rewards help users to pass through difficult parts in the game. Let's say you have a strategy mid-core game, or you have a casual game where beginning is rather too easy for most users, especially if they are playing it as a core user, or if it's a strategy game, the beginning might have some tutorial that's rather boring because it's a new game for users. They have to learn the whole world and how things work there. So quite often users would drop. A large chunk of users would drop before they even give a proper chance to the game. In case of rewarded, we can push users to pass through those difficult stages, to go to the interesting parts of the game when they get hooked, because the game is actually more fun if we played it for some time, like past 5-10 levels maybe. So the rewarded UA helps with helping users to pass through those difficult times so that you can have higher engagement and higher retention rate with the users that you get. You also have a loyalty program, so to say, for a game, because it works kind of your own actual rewarded loyalty program, but on the side handled by some other companies such as Gamelight. It also allows you to have better targeting and user quality, because primarily rewarded channels would have their own traffic. For example, in case of Gamelight, all of our traffic comes from our own self-published apps, which means we have access to our own users, their data, and we can do good targeting and have full control over quality. This also means that you can access new audiences. In most cases, also in case of Gamelight, since it's coming from our own apps, we don't promote your apps if it comes from agencies. So this means we work only with direct advertisers, and if you want to access the traffic we have, that the only way is to work directly. Otherwise, you would be missing out on those users. All in all, combined, because it's direct traffic, there is full control, there is high user engagement and retention. You get to have very high ROAS, very high retention, and very high user quality. Now, how was it until now? So the game publishers would focus primarily on traditional channels, they would have Meta, they would have Google Ads as a base. Everyone would run those. If they want to expand, they could add some other social channels, maybe TikTok, search ad if they're on iOS. If they have enough budgets and they want to expand a bit more, they would work with rewarded video networks. And then once they work with all of those, once they test out everything, they would give a try to rewarded channel, rewarded playtime or rewarded events, but they would never give large budgets, right? It has been that we've heard a lot, yeah, our budgets are big, but for rewarded, we only give 5%, 10% of our total budget. This has been changing though, since we grew quite a lot in the market. I will explain also how this happened. Now, game publishers focus a lot on rewarded channels, quite often 100% or 80% of their budgets go primarily to rewarded channels. And then on top of it, they add some other sources too. And this is true for both in-app purchase monetized games and ad monetized games. How we did it? Until Gamelight, this was done very manually. So you have an account manager, you have a UA manager doing some manual targeting, checking some data, finding some averages, and doing male and female targeting, or a certain age. Let's say if it's a strategy game, you would target 30, 35 plus male. You wouldn't target 18-year-old female, right, for the game. If it's a strategy game, and vice versa if it's a casual game. Rewards were also defined by account managers manually. They would sit and create some tables with minutes and rewards to get, or with events and rewards to get. This worked to some degree. It was fine, but this was very unoptimized, right? Because you can scale to some limit. If it's all done simply by humans manually based on some averages, you don't get to maximize the potential. Well, there's a huge potential in the reward, because I believe if media partners and advertisers are the only people benefiting from this, this is not how it's going to work, because actual users that play the game are the end users, and they should benefit it too. And rewarded channels allow this to happen, because they share part of their earnings, their rewards with the end users to keep them engaged and motivated to continue playing the game. And what we did to maximize this potential is we built an AI algorithm that analyzes a lot of usage data, user data, such as the app usage data, which games they're playing, how much they're playing, when they're playing, their demographics data as their age and gender, their device data, OS, manufacturer, and so on. And we analyze what kind of games they prefer. We build patterns based on this data that we analyze, and then we decide which games we will recommend to which users. This all happened before the install even happens. So by the time you get the install, you already have a good quality, because we analyze a lot of data. And might be that you do have a strategy game, and on average, targeting 30, 35 plus male could work. But there is also potentially an 18-year-old female that would absolutely love your game and become a loyal long-term user, but you missed out on them because you were doing a manual targeting. And there's 100% a male user that is 45 years old and that would hate your game, but you were targeting and you paid for this user because you did an average targeting. So we avoid all of this happening and do it in a real time with our algorithm that analyzes a lot of usage data and defines which exact user would fit which exact game, and does it based on usage behavior rather than average numbers that we get from previous data. We also built a reward algorithm that decides dynamically which rewards each user will get, instead of everyone having playtime or everyone having event and everything being predefined as this is in the industry. We do it dynamically. So algorithm checks how users react to every type of event, every type of reward, if they are reacting better for playtime or for event rewards, or both of them combined, or in which value, which one should have more rewards and less rewards. And then it decides with what kind of rewards each user will be getting. And this together helped us achieve great results for advertisers. We are able to maximize ROAS and retention rate. We are able to maximize engagement and user retention, which results in high ROAS. We get very high LTV and ARPU and RPPU. The whole optimization also happens real time, and we have a very short learning phase. So there's no need to wait for weeks or waste thousands of budgets for the algorithm to learn, because this is happening at the same time. As soon as you launch, with the first data that starts getting in, the algorithm starts optimizing and makes it better and better. And the best cherry on top is that this is all done by minimal effort by user acquisition managers. There's no more accounts splitting by different target groups and analyzing one by one. You simply add your ROAS goals and the algorithm will do its best to reach them. And campaign launch is very easy because you simply need a link. You can add, we don't need creatives, we fetch everything from the store. As soon as you add your Google Play or App Store link, it will be fetched. You only need to add CAP, CPI tracking link, and you're good to go. It takes literally 2 minutes to launch. So all of this combined made it very possible to change the whole rewarded industry. It went from manual to automated. It went from a lot of routine work to more going for creative for UA managers to think of more options instead of simply sitting and grinding over the same campaign over months. This all was shifted to algorithms, to our algorithm that started doing this job. Thanks to this, we got a lot of awards and recognitions since we launched. This is, for example, Best App Advertising Platform on App Growth Awards, multiple from Business of Apps. Our latest one is Martech Awards, also Mobile Game Awards by Pocket Gamers at Gamescom. We were top 3. We were in AppsFlyer Index, and we got many, many different awards, primarily for Best AI Tool, Best AI Platform, Best User Acquisition Platform, Best App Marketing Platform, and so on. We also landed in the latest AppsFlyer Performance Index. This is some of the placements that we have. We are on power ranking, volume ranking, and different geolocations, also globally, different game genres, as well as the whole gaming. There's only some of them. We are pretty much across everywhere, and that also happens thanks to the quality that we deliver to our partners. We also landed in a singular market snapshot for scaling a lot. We are top 3 UA network for match 3 titles. We are also top 5 UA network globally, right next to Google, Meta, Cloud, and Apple search ads. And we end up writing many case studies with our partners to showcase our work and how happy they are. And there are many of them in our website that you can check. For example, we have a case study with Superplay, how they scaled to 500,000 daily spend on Gamelight, and how we did it. It's a very technical case study with a lot of details and what kind of setup we did and so on. We also have many with many other companies, those that monetize with in-app purchase, so ad monetized, casual, social casino, mid-core strategy, many case studies on the website. Feel free to check them. I can show one of them to you with Joy City. That is one of the largest South Korean game publishers. They are huge globally, and they have many, many titles. And we wrote case study for 2 of their titles, which are Gunship Battle and World War. They optimized towards highest ROAS and ROAS growth. And you can see that we ran campaigns in Japan, Korea, and UK. And we achieved day 30 ROAS goals and overachieved them, over-delivered them. And we had huge growth from day 7 to day 30. Even more than 2.5 times in certain geos. Now, Gamelight Effect, what does that mean? What happened since the Gamelight came to the picture? Before we were there, as I told, the game publishers would focus primarily on traditional channels. They would run Meta, Google Ads, they would do rewarded video networks like Applied and Idols, Unity, and so on. And then little share for rewarded channels to test out, to run it. It would be fine to have it at certain scale, but there was a limit in the budgets that they would spend on rewarded UA. This has changed a lot. When we started, initially, we had the same issue. So the quality would be good, but we would struggle to get higher budgets because there was a company policy. You don't spend more than 10% or so of your total budget on rewarded channels. And step by step, it gets higher and higher and higher. And right now, what we see is that very often partners scale so high, and they would return back to us saying that by now, 80% of their whole traffic, 90% of their whole traffic is on Gamelight because it worked simply so much better that it didn't make sense anymore to run anything else. Would be just waste of budgets. So if something works so well, why restrict yourself? Or we had cases when partners would tell us that they discontinued the game because it simply doesn't work. They stopped all UA. They only continue with Gamelight because quality is good. There is no point to miss out on this. We should just continue running. They will just pause everything else. This wouldn't happen before, for example. This wouldn't happen some years ago. Also, something new that started happening is partners now prioritize reward channels for soft launch too. We have very often partners approach us. They are launching a new game. They want to start with Gamelight, not with Facebook, not with Google anymore, not with rewarded channels, the video channels, but they would start with Gamelight and maybe some other reward channels. And the point is that before, the main benchmark was organic and how Google behaves and how meta users behave. But now, because they have been running most of their games on Gamelight traffic, and they have a new benchmark there now because the quality is much higher, and they don't aim to have something with lower retention or engagement anymore. They want to have a game that will be similar to the games that they have in the quality, in the user engagement. So they launch with similar channels like Gamelight in this case to compare the games and how users behave in them, which is also very new because up until quite some time ago, the game publishers would not launch rewarded channels on the soft launch. They would launch the traditional channels and then wait and then do the rewarded channels, which changed now. What also has changed is that now iOS became a major platform on rewarded channels. Until we came to the picture, it existed on some platforms, but it was more of like a dead app that was not being supported. Maybe it was adding up 5% in the total revenue, 5% total impact. It was not a major thing on rewarded channels. When you rewarded meant Android. This changed. We became very big on iOS, and the word spread out. We also wrote a lot of case studies about this too. And by now, basically every major rewarded channel has iOS already, and a lot of new channels that are launching, they launch also Android and iOS because this showcased how much potential there's on iOS too, and there's no need to miss out on that. This also resulted in a very interesting phenomena. There are a lot of startups and companies that started launching rewarded products. So up until a couple of years ago, there were 3, 4, 5 channels that were running rewarded, that had rewarded platforms, and they were running on certain scale, and that's basically it. There was no growth happening in the market. As you have known, like in this last year, there were so many new startups that launched rewarded platforms, and so many already existing ad companies launched their own rewarded products. Because now you can see how much potential there in the market, because we wrote those case studies and showcased the whole potential, and now there's more and more interest. And at the same time, advertisers see that the quality works really well, and there is no need to restrict yourself for simply the company policy and have only a certain limit on the rewarded traffic. So there's more and more budgets also coming in because it benefits the advertisers. And the whole industry is growing now because since there's more supply, more demand, there's more new products coming up, and there's more interest in the market. The whole rewarded system ecosystem is growing, and that's what has been was stagnated in the last years. Companies were launched, they were just there, they were running to a certain degree, to a certain limit. And in general, the whole mobile ad tech, mobile gaming, so to say, stagnated too. It hasn't been growing too much, it's shrinking. And right now, rewarded platforms are major platforms that have started growing a lot within this industry. This also means that there are a lot of eyes on Gamelight. First of all, that's a new channel that works. Since last years, there was barely any new channel in the market that would work. It was the same traditional channels, the same players that everyone knew, and suddenly there was Gamelight and everyone was talking about, and people were sharing with each other that they tested out and it's good, and we just get more and more referrals from our existing partners, and there was a lot of attention on what we do. This was also highlighted by a lot of awards and recognitions that we got, be it the different awards on AppsFlyer and Singular, which put even more attention on us. We wrote very large case studies with our partners, again, different directions. Also, for example, Superplay case study that is unseen in the industry, that someone would just spend $500,000 in a day and showcase everything what they've done and how they've done, which brought even more attention to us. We had a lot of people writing to us to learn about our product, about our platform, about the company, to try to understand how this is happening and why Gamelight has succeeded so much, how our algorithm works. This also resulted in a lot of copycats, the companies that started fully copying us. To define what I mean by copycat and Is that actually copying or is it an inspiration? I want to give a couple of cases that happened. For example, simpler one that happens rather more often too is copying our apps, but not simply copying, but exactly replicating it. For example, taking our app, exact UI we have, exact design, the color palette, the buttons, placement, app features, exactly what we do, replicate this, including the store page, the screenshots, the design, the complete look of the app would be copied and launched under some other name. And those would also be not small companies, so not a single indie developer trying to get something, but those are quite big companies, known ones from the industry that had their business really stagnated in the last years, and they tried to see what else can they do to also grow like Gamelight did. They would also copy our product features and our USPs and how we pitch. But that wouldn't end there. It would also go a bit extra step when our product would be stolen, so to say. So, for example, once I received an email from a company that had a pitch deck in it and video explanation of their product. It's a rewarded channel, and they wanted us to do user acquisition with them because we also have our own apps, so we do user acquisition ourselves. And I open the presentation and I see there our own app screenshots. Not something similar, not the copy of it, not something that looks like it, but actually our own app screenshots that they added there as if it's their product, so that it would convince their clients to start working with them. Another case that happened was on a conference, which happened recently, a couple of months ago. It was a gaming conference, and they were checking around, and we saw this game rewarded company that had a booth, and they had banners next to the booth, and in those banners, they wrote things like rewarded UA, tested out, and there would be again app screenshots. And those were also our app screenshots. So not something similar, not something that looks like it. It was actually our own app screenshots. We approached them, we talked to them, we had a laugh because it's kind of amusing. But it's also a bit wrong direction, I would say, for companies to take. Because one thing is if you simply copy, because there's no way you will get big with this. You are simply copying the looks of it, but not what the actual algorithm does, not what the actual product is. In this case, obviously, it is not going to succeed. It will only reach a certain limit. Another way that's also happening is more of an inspiration type. So, for example, we would see our competitors launching new features that we launched. They did competitor research. They find some features that they like, but they didn't simply copy everything, but added something new to it. You know, they added their own touch. It can be with design elements, or it can be with some adjusted features to make it more of their own. In this case, I think this is an inspiration and something very cool to see happening, because it's fine if you get inspired by other companies and you build something of your own, because in this case, we can all grow the industry together and build something new one after another and inspire each other. And those are amazing cases that are happening. Now, to sum this up, what is the boom in the rewarded UA? There are a lot of existing networks that launched their own rewarded products, as well as new startups that launched rewarded apps, which was not happening before. There was no new rewarded products coming up to the market, and it all started happening like crazily since last year. And now advertisers also see the benefit on prioritizing rewarded channels. Since the quality is so much better, they put more, they allocate more budgets and put more effort into managing rewarded channels. And the whole ecosystem of rewarded ecosystem is growing faster, better, because there are so many players now. There are so many new innovations and product updates, and the system that was stagnated last years now started growing, and it's growing faster than ever. And that's why there's right now an explosion happening, the boom. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, or if you would like to partner with us, reach out to partners@Gamelight.io. We answer within 24 hours to all emails. Thank you. Okay, there are some questions. I don't know if there's time for the questions. Why do you think reward ads are so effective in engaging mobile players? What's driving the search? That's happening because with the rewards, users get more engaged and they take the share of the advertising, which didn't happen before. Only advertisers and media partners would benefit, but now end users are also benefiting, which I think is very fair, because those are the actual people that play the game. So it would make sense if they also benefit from it. Is there a risk of over-reliance on reward ads, and how can developers diversify their monetization strategies? Interesting question. It could be, I wouldn't say risk, you should simply treat it like differently. You shouldn't expect similar thing as you had with video channels or with social channels, because users behave differently. There's rewards, for example, users would pass through levels faster than they would do with non-rewarded channels, right? Because they have now extra interest to pass more levels, do more, engage more with the game. But it also gives you a chance to monetize them better, because instead of passing 10 levels in a day, now they might pass 15, 20 levels.